Today, we received the 4.1 patch for Splatoon 3. You know, 3 weeks after we were supposed to get it. Love this game. But is the patch good? Does it actually fix substantial issues, or is it a nothing burger of a patch? Well, let's find out. Alright, so here we are. This is the patch website, and let's take a look at everything we got. Firstly, for the arrow sprays, reduce the amount of ink consumed by approximately 9%. Sure. This weapon doesn't... That wasn't its problem? I don't know why they felt the need to change that. It never struggled with ink efficiency. You could, like, get a whole special before you even got to your bomb, basically. It didn't need this. But, arrow spray buff, I guess. For the splatter shots, reduce the scatter of shots when landing by approximately 17%. This also includes mid-air shot scatter reduction from intensify action ability. The mid-air ink scatter will now be closer to the effect while shooting on land. Okay, this one is phrased really weirdly. From what I can understand, basically they reduced the RNG while shooting on the ground, and then they added this bullet point that said it's also while in the air from intensify action. So why is it written like this? What does this mean? Okay, it's been a minute, and I think what they mean is that this basically... You get better RNG while on the ground, and then the curve for intensify action is better? Maybe. I think that's what they mean. Maybe. We'll find out, I guess. I have no clue what they're trying to say. For the end zaps, they got the exact same thing. So, if what I concur is right, basically better RNG on the ground. Cool, I guess. End zap, already a good meta weapon, and based on some of the things we're going to see in a bit, it'll be even better. So, yeah. Splatter Shot Pro buffs. Finally, they're making the garbage weapon less bad. Increase the radius of ink splatter by approximately 8%. Paints better, basically. I think is what they're trying to say. So cool. Good for it. Still not good, but less terrible. This is a big one for the Lunas. Reduce the scatter of shots midair by 25%. I think what they're doing right now is I think they're testing giving blasters better jump RNG. Because right now, blasters are really bad because they have a hard time being consistent and hitting shots consistently because your shots kind of fly randomly when you jump. But I think this is them theory crafting with a more short range shot so that they can see if it still feels fair, especially in this new game, to have it have way better jump RNG. So hopefully that's what it is, but either way, massive buff for Luna players. They made the Intensify curve better too, which is good. For those of you who don't know, Intensify action, it does 3 things. It makes your squid roll and surge faster, and it reduces your jump RNG. So when you jump, your shots fly more consistently when you have it equipped. They basically gave it a better curve so that you have to use less Intensify to get better effects. So that's cool. That's really good for the weapon. The first Dynamo buff since Splatoon 2, I think? Yeah. That's crazy. They reduce the amount of time it takes for ink to begin recovering after horizontal? That's not a word. Horizontal or vertical swing by about 1/6 of a second. So basically, you get your white ink frames end faster, which means you can get more ink back in your tank faster. Good buff. It needs more, but it's a start. Paintbrush. This was the big one that stood out to me on my first quick read through of this. Reduced the amount of ink consumed when swinging the brush by approximately 25%. That's a lot. And then they did it for the roll too. When you're rolling, it's cut down by 25%. That's a lot. Like, that might make this weapon have potential to be not good, but niche useful. So that would be cool. In my opinion, it still Curling Bomb just needs a buff for it to be, like, actually good. But as it stands, very good buff for this weapon. That's really good. GooTuber adjusted the display to indicate the charge to make it easier to tell when you excel 100 damage. For those of you who don't know, you don't actually have to do a full charge with GooTuber to get a kill. You can charge up to 100 damage. It's like past 3/4 a little bit, but it's really hard to tell now, and they're making it so it's easier to tell where that range is, where, hey, it will kill now. So, yeah. Bloblobber, it paints better. Sure. And the last main weapon buff, Tri-Stringer. Increase the damage dealt to opponents by the explosions from 28 to 30. And increased movement speed while charging by 13%. Tri-Stringer is going to be good now. So Tri-Stringer was already like a pretty okay weapon. It just like struggled a little bit. But basically what this means is that if you shoot an opponent, the arrows hit the ground, it does 70 on the hit, and then the arrows explode. And now since the arrows do 30, you can kill with the, I guess it's the weak hit and then the explosion. which means it's going to be a lot more consistent, and it's going to be a lot more of a menace on more specific objective-based modes like zones and tower. So yeah, that's going to be good. And then obviously having more movement speed is just going to be nice for it, especially in a meta where it's really fast-paced, things like Cooler running around. So it'll be really nice for that to have that to help. For the first time in this game, something other than Angle Shooter, that is a sub-weapon, has received a buff. Sprinkler extended the duration of the state where the ink is the strongest immediately after placement by approximately 3 seconds. It'll be in the good paint mode for longer. That's not what Sprinkler needs, but cool, guys. And speaking of Angle Shooter, increase the damage dealt to opponents by direct hits from 35 to 40. That's really good, actually. Now, I know there are some other buffs people wanted to see to Angle Shooter, but this one? This one's pretty damn good still. It combos a lot better with a lot of things. A lot of stuff is based on 60 damage in this game, so that's really good. Combos with that really well. And most importantly, I would argue for the weapon. Now with Slosher Deco, you can hit someone with Angle Shooter, pop Zip Caster, and then zip through them and it'll kill. It also helps Slosher Deco a lot because now running one sub of bomb defense does not make it so that the combo doesn't work anymore. So yeah, that's really cool. Now, on to the special buffs. Trizooka, increase the damage dealt from explosions by 40 to 60. So basically the indirect damage when it hits the ground is going to be 60 now, which means if you hit 2 indirects, you'll get the kill instead of having to hit all 3, which is really good. And again, that 60 is a really good combo number. It's really good for comboing with a lot of things in this game. So yeah, that'll be really good. I think Trizooka is actually going to jump up substantially between this and the Splattershot buff. I could definitely see some V-Shot being run now, especially since Zuka's going to be a lot more consistent with that. Ink Vac buffs. Thank the Lord. Increase the radius of the shot by 50% when the ink was sucked up is at the minimum, and increase the radius by 25% when it's at the max. Okay, I guess. Like, those are good buffs for what it's worth. Those are good changes to be making to it, but they're not the buffs it needs. It needs to be able to just end the shot early. In my opinion, next up we have what is, in my opinion, actually the biggest buff of the update, is to Super Chump. They increased the amount of damage dealt to players caught in an explosion from 60 to 70, and increased the area by 38%. Chump is actually threatening now. You actually have to, like, you can't just stand in it, you have to actively destroy it, or else you're gonna take a lot of damage. And 70 hurts hard. And they increased the radius of both where it hits for 35 and where it hits for 70. So, you're very easy for you to get comboed now, just between one chump and then the weak hitbox on the other. So you have to actually put time and effort into focusing on the chumps. Good buff. Very good buff. I think chump might actually be not top tier by any means, but I think it'll be usable now, which will be really good, especially on things like zones and clam. So that'll be great. The last change to special, it's Inkjet. We knew it was coming. Inkjet. Decrease the radius of the explosion area that deals 50% damage by approximately 15%. Good change. That's just a fair change, man. It's just a lot harder. You have to be more good. You have to be more skilled with Inkjet, I should say. I think it'll still be good. It might not be top tier, but I still think it'll be high tier and good change. I like Inkjet as a good weapon, or as a good special, so yeah. Cool, keep that. Points for special. See that number? Do you see that godforsaken number? Who let this happen? Clash Blaster Neo from 180 to 170. Clash is still not going to be good. Clash inherently is just not a very good weapon for a competitive setting, but sure. I don't know why you wouldn't just run 89 to farm chump if you need it, or CDS, so it's fine. Good, fine buff, but don't make things 170. Just keep 180 as the minimum. Keep them there. Carbon Roller, again, also 170. It's farming Zipcaster, so who cares? Rapid Pro Deco from 180 to 190. This thing's seen a decent amount of use. I don't know if it really needed it, but it's fine. Try Nouveau to 180 to 190. Why? Why are you letting 85 run around with Cooler? But Try Nouveau is where you draw the line. You know? Why is Mini 190? What did this weapon do to deserve this? I don't understand. Like, the weapon's just not that good. Like, it's fine. It's just not seeing much use at all, and they just felt the need to nerf it still, so sure. And then ballpoint to 210. Good. Congratulations, you made a meta weapon 210. If only you could do it with Splash. And then, I'm not gonna read all of them. There's a giant thing of bug fixes. Read that if you care about it. But yeah, that's it. That's pretty much it for the balance patch changes. I think it's a pretty good patch. It's not perfect. I'm beginning to see a little bit of shooter bias shine through with specifically Zap and Tri Nouveau is where I'm like, okay, buddy. Overall, this is like a solid 8 out of 10 patch across the board, honestly. It does a lot of the things I wanted to do. It doesn't do everything, but they're taking their time with getting patches and like slowly building the game up to be right, which after Splatoon 2, where they just nerfed everything into the ground, I'm good with that, man. Go for it.